Hey. Hey, I'm back. Hey. This is where I was probably in the mood to hear this doom here because after we watched the Turtles movie, my wife and I were showing our kids like old Flintstones, and I was showing them Voltron, G.I. Joe. We even did like Smurfs and just showing them like the old cartoons we used to watch. And we used to watch the commercials too. There was a day, Saturday, every day of the week, you'd sit down and watch cartoons. Believe it or not, they weren't like prevalent every day. And so we were watching that, and I was trying to find the Scooby-Doo intro that MF Doom, rest in peace, had sampled. All these musical artists gone, passed away for various reasons, all feeling too young. But so I went back through and went through the intros and tried to find the right one. And I was like, I was like, it was the only one I really remembered. So I was like, this isn't the right one. This is the Scooby-Doo theme song. So it's going to go into the next one. See, that wasn't it. And my wife knew. I was like, that's not it. That one didn't come in the right way. And she knew which one I was talking about. And then she saw it on the TV. She's like, this is the one you're talking about. Ooh, listen to the heat on this one right here. Ooh, this is some special stuff right here. When just the intro part, even the whole song's dope, but listen to this. Woo! Bring that back. That's dirty right there. That's like when whoever made that beat for Pharoah Monch copied Godzilla. That's how hard that was right there. Listen to that again. No, not this. So you see hip hop. That why I love hip hop so much is you take the Scooby-Doo song, and MF Doom wrote his lyrics, dope MC and producer. So he made this beat and he sampled it. You hear it right here. There it is. He took the Scooby-Doo intro and turned and looped it into a beat. In fact, let me rephrase. This is I still remember when a DJ that I used to rock with back in Michigan brought that record home. I was like, what? And it just blew my mind. That's Operation Doomsday. That song is Hey on the album Operation Doomsday by MF Doom. Ray says, just rewatching your episode on Timcast. Wow, I still have not rewatched that just because I don't know why I've rewatched all my other stuff, but I have not rewatched that episode. Toy Mafia, yo! He's seen Big Mike, and that's where we're going to start off. And I'm not joking with this. I actually appreciate. I mean, this isn't like I'm trying to troll or anything like that. I mean, I'm gonna have a lighthearted time with the topic, but I'm not joking here. I really truly do appreciate Obama. I appreciate Obama fully for this, and I'll tell you why. Thanks for joining out. Let me take a look and see what topics do I have for today for this live here. We'll see how long it goes. Looking forward to going through some of the different topics out there. I got DeSantis. Lauren Luber is going to be on the Tim Pool. I want to talk about that a little bit more. DeSantis on abortion, DeSantis on the election is a big one. DeSantis on attacking Trump on COVID. Uh, there's some good stuff there. I'm very disappointed. I think basically he's admitted that he's not going to the debate. I think it's pretty much confirmed. He had that one Truth Social post you might have seen where I'm going to look to see who's going to be my VP or something like that. So I'm not happy about it at all. I'm not letting him off the hook for that. So yeah, I'm gonna go through all that kind of stuff. So we'll be here for a minute. Thanks for stopping by. If you can, how you feeling? Who's out there? Cyan, what's up? I vaguely remember any of the intros to any cartoons other than Merry Melodies, Looney Tunes, and Robotech. Was it the '90s when sampling became a thing? Sampling was a thing before. I want to say it was before the '90s. But yeah, early '90s, you could say. I didn't really know much about hip hop before that, but sampling did become big. In the '90s, sampling was huge because it was more of the wild, wild west. People never looked at hip hop seriously. So I don't know if he had to pay royalties on that or not, or I don't even know the proper term that they got to pay on it. But back then, nobody took hip hop artists seriously at first. The music, the genre. You talk to anybody who was around that time. My mom I remember went to one of my classes and actually talked about kind of like the origins of hip hop and relationships to reggae, which is a controversial Jamaican reggae, which is a controversial topic right now, which wasn't back then. Things are just crazy now, but nobody knew. So the record labels didn't really care. But then they saw these records were going wild with sampling all these old songs, and then they said that we got to get broken off a piece. So nowadays you don't hear as much. You still hear some sampling. Some people will pay. They're like, cool, we'll work out a deal and pay you. And sometimes if you sample it enough, you won't have to get caught or royalties. But a lot of stuff they try to avoid the sampling now. Sampling is an art form. I've always liked it. It's not a stealing thing. I think it's a way of changing. Like you see, he took that beginning of the Scooby-Doo and just looped it for his own and maybe did a little bit of tweaks to it, but it's the same thing and looped it for his song. I think I have no problem if the owners of it want to cut, but it's still an art form. That debate has been going on, actually. It's been a debate about who should own the rights to stuff. There's a libertarian discussion on that before we get into the first topic of Obama. There's a libertarian type of debate about, copyright and IP holders and stuff like that. So that's a big topic. I do want to talk about, I'm going to talk about Maj Touré as well. So there's a lot on the agenda. Let's take a look at Barack Obama and the news from Barack Obama that happened over the last couple of days. I think this is new news. I'm going to go over old news here, but there's some new that I never heard, at least, revelations here. And Dom Luker, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it right, so I apologize, Dom. Dom's great. Follow Dom on Twitter. He was briefly suspended. Elon, I think, said it was a mistake or something like that, but he's back. Dom says, breaking news, President Barack Obama biographer David Garrow, who revealed that President Obama had gay fantasies. And I want to say this up front. I'm giving, in all honesty, I'm going to get to my end take. I'm going to give Obama credit. And because he didn't come out here and say any of this. This is just stuff coming out through these books and stuff. I'm just sharing the news. It's kind of like Tevin Campbell. I did that live with Tevin Campbell. That's actually the infamous live, right, where we had that boat comment. But Tevin Campbell came out as gay, and my take was like, we already knew and didn't care much. We had love for you before, got love for you afterwards. Obama's a different thing. I don't have love for him. But as far as the gay part, already figured, didn't care. But I will give you credit, though. But what are we talking about here? So it looks like his ex-girlfriend, and this is all sourced through this article here from Tablet Mag. So let me just go directly to them. They're the ones that are the real source here. And I think if I search on this, I'll find that there's a clip. And the clip was like with Alex, and this person here said, I think she wanted to have her role known. So when Alex showed me the letters from Barack, so somehow through the girlfriend's friend, Alex, so Obama's girlfriend at Occidental College showed this other person the letters from Barack. They were redacted. So there's one paragraph that was blacked out, and they said the reason why is because it was about homosexuality. So that's what that shows there. The other part of it is I had a tweet from Rashawn Kareem's. Let me look that up here, and that's what I used for the headliner. And that headliner article is a real article from, I believe it was Newsweek. And what it was saying Obama was the first gay president. And what they really meant was just like how they used to, I think it was coming off the heels of, they had success by saying Bill Clinton was the first black president. So they didn't really mean it literally in that article where it says, Barack Obama, first gay president, the new Newsweek cover. That's not really what it was saying. It was saying that he was very friendly to the cause, which turned out to be true. And so this story here breaks down the actual cover from Andrew Sullivan. And Andrew Sullivan said that this blog post, he wrote that Obama's support of gay marriage brought him to tears. So it was more like giving him credit for changing, acquiescing on that opinion. And I don't think the government needs to get involved in love and marriage at all. And I've kind of evolved to say I don't think the federal government at least needs to exist at all. But if you're going to have its existence, then there's absolutely no reason it shouldn't recognize a marriage, no matter which humans it's between. That's completely irrelevant. If you are a religious person and you say marriage is between a man and a woman, and you want to call something else, that's just semantics. So you can say marriage, and then if it's not within, but the government shouldn't be recognizing religion anyway. So I think the right compromise would be to say the government doesn't recognize marriage. If you have a union, I think that solves everything. If you have a union, then we can recognize that for tax purposes and otherwise. So I actually don't have a problem with that. And so that's what they were saying. So Barack Obama, and they said Barack Obama, first gay president. And it's just funny looking back at it now that other stuff has come out, and you don't have to believe this stuff. That's perfectly fine. I think there is enough evidence to, if you want to believe it, that you can. I will be very clear to make that statement. So let's go to Raheem Kassam, is who I got the original article from, the picture for that Newsweek, because I hadn't seen that. I think I'd seen it before, but not in a long time. So I saw it in a whole different light than I remembered it. But there's a thread on it where it talks about the different things, and then we'll get to the takeaway. Thanks for stopping by. We just gonna do a little bit of a live here, and I see you, Ray. I don't know. Let me text you. See, the problem that I'm having is my schedule is very impromptu. When I can do lives or not, I'll know like hours before. Like I don't have good ability to plan it out long term ahead. So I'm gonna try to, but I am gonna try to do that though. But here's the original tweet thread. And the original tweet thread is right here. There's a real article published in 2012. And then the Washington Post did another follow-up to that. Oops. Let me make sure I get this in the screen here. Then, so this is the real article from 2012. The Washington Post did a follow up on that. Then you've had all these other type of stuff. I don't really. There's legitimacy to some of this stuff, but I don't want to get too much into that. Then we have the famous Joan Rivers call out. Then we have Machiavelli memes. If we could, if you can't have fun with it, why not? Barack, I hope you don't mind people having fun with it. There you are, loving up on Joe Biden. I see you there. And then there's this clip here that a lot of people have heard, a lot of people have seen, but I just want to play it for those who might not have seen it.
I performed oral sex on Barack Obama. The following day, I actually get a knock on my hotel room door in Gurnee, Illinois, only to find Barack Obama standing in front of it. He had actually come back for seconds. I performed oral sex on him in the hotel room at the Comfort Inn and Suites in Gurnee, Illinois.
Now, Obama at that time was a state senator.
I actually had no idea who he was.
And then when did you find out that it was Barack Obama?
Watching the 2004 DNC convention.
Thank you very much, everybody. God bless you. Thank you.
I performed fellatio on Senator Obama in the limousine during the time Senator Obama was smoking crack cocaine.
You are arrested
by the D.C. Police Department upon the orders of Beau Biden, Attorney General for Delaware. Apparently, he had a grand jury indictment from 2 weeks after I went public on Obama accusing me of theft that never took place. Donald Young was the choir director in Jeremiah Wright's church in Chicago.
This is the church Obama attended.
Sometimes the Twitter little bloop comes at a funny time. But I think I'll just end with giving Barack Obama the utmost credit. He never assume he is. He never walked down the street with the rainbow flag. He never volunteered information we didn't need. He was just normal person. You do what you do. None of my business. Barack Obama, probably one of, if he really is, that gay or whatever you want to call it, being dead serious, much respect. Before that was no rainbows, no walking down the street, no virtue signaling on it, none of that. You wouldn't have known, and nobody cares. It perfectly fine. I
performed oral.
If he were a good president, I would be able to say it. And my take on him as president has nothing to do with it. So Barack Obama actually might be a great example of all the negative things he did, and you could argue he brought in a lot of the racial divide that we have right now, helped bring it in. I'm not going to give him credit for all of it, but you can argue he helped bring it in. For all that, I will give him credit if he just lived his life without any type of signaling or any type of forcing people or trying to use it as a shield or a weapon. Who thought I was going to start with praise? I mean, really starting with praise for former President Barack Obama. I got to talk about Neo again, man. Something else came out. I don't want to spend too much time. I have actually spent too much time on this bro right now, but another thing came out. Neo came out and said, hey, I think it's crazy if you let kids, if you want to transition trick kids. He came out, that was his opinion. Then he apologized for it. Then he got back behind the camera and he's talking again.
What's going on, loved ones? This is Neo. All right, listen. I normally don't give too much of a damn about what y'all think about what I do, what y'all have to say about what I say, whatever. I normally don't care because, like I said, opinions ain't special. Everybody got one. However, this is something I feel very strongly on, and I need y'all to hear this from the horse's mouth, not the publicist's computer. So check this out. First and foremost, I do not apologize for having an opinion on this matter. I am a 43-year-old heterosexual man raising 5 boys and 2 girls, okay? That's my reality. Now, if my opinion offended somebody, yeah, sure, I apologize for you being offended because that wasn't my intention. My intention is never to offend anybody. However, I'm entitled to feel how I feel. I'm absolutely entitled to feel how I feel the same way you are entitled to feel how you feel. I ain't asked nobody to follow me. I ain't asked nobody to agree with me. I was asked a question and I answered the damn question, okay? I have no beef with the LGBTQIA plus community whatsoever. I ain't got no beef with y'all. Do whatever the hell it is you want to do. Do what you want to do with your kids. However, Somebody asked my opinion on this matter, and this is how I feel. I will never be okay with allowing a child to make a decision that detrimental to their life. I will never be okay with that. I don't. I definitely plan to educate myself a little bit more on this matter. However, I doubt that there's any book anywhere or any opinion that somebody's gonna tell me that's gonna make me okay with letting a child make a decision like that. That's just period, point blank, and that's how I feel. If I get canceled for this, then you know what? Maybe this is a world where they don't need a Neo no more. All right. And I got no problem with that. I'm a hustler, all right? I'll figure it out. I got kids to raise, and I'm going to do that regardless. So, with that being said, y'all have a good day. I love everybody. Live how you want to live, love how you want to love, but your opinion is yours. Speak your opinion as much as you damn well feel like it. Because as I said, they're not important, they're not special. Everybody got one, and you're entitled to it. I'm entitled to mine, all right? Y'all feel how y'all want to feel. Have a great day. It's Neo. Peace and love.
See, my problem is I don't know what's happening now. Because he apologized. What is he apologizing for? So he's saying the exact. So he said a statement. He said a statement. He made a statement. Then he apologized for saying that if it hurts you, I apologize. Then he said the same statement again. So now I do have a problem. I don't know. My problem is that I need you to just calm down. I need you to, if you don't care what I have to say, then don't worry about what I have to say. Calm down, put the phone down, and it's not about re-educating. You just haven't thought through this. See, the only reason that I've evolved to this point, you go back to the channel, the first couple of videos, I have a completely different take vibe, and you look at basically any YouTuber. I was looking back at old Eric July videos. It's a totally different dude. Why? Because he's evolved. Not totally different, but he's evolved, matured, he's got older. You can see that for me over 3 years. I don't care if you're offended. That's the part that he's not understanding. And he can say what he wants to say, but I'm not giving him praise for that. You made a comment, you apologized, and you made the same comment. I don't know where you are right now. And I've had enough of Neo. But I just wanted to update that because I didn't know it was going to turn into 3 segments. I rarely do 3 segments on anything just because I don't go live that much. But let's go to DeSantis. I wanted to get that in the first time I went live. Didn't get it. There's going to be a debate on the culture war, and I pretty much knew the culture war was going to blow up because it's a great idea. We don't see debates much. We are going to see a debate. It's not pay-per-view. You're going to see it on Tim Pool. You can go to the Tim Pool channel. Bill Mitchell will be debating Laura Loomer head-to-head on Culture War with Timcast August 18th at 10 a.m. I think it will be epic. And Laura Loomer is a fire starter, but I think I don't think it's going to be too bad of like a yelling or talking over. She actually seems to be very, crafted and thought out when she does these type of things, but it's going to be good. If you don't know, Bill Mitchell, I believe, used to be a Trump supporter. You can see that you're going to see like he deleted some tweets in the past here in a second. Laura Loomer is, I've been talking about her recently now because she's back on Twitter, which is good. I've knocked Elon. I still think she's in the echo chamber. I think it's a psyop, but I'm still grateful to see because I'm seeing more of her than I was before, at least for me, and that means something to me. So I am grateful for that. But Laura Loomer is, a lot of people don't know because right now she's coming across as she is a Trump activist, but she's actually an independent journalist, is what she is at heart. And she did stuff with Alex Jones in the past. She's fearless. She's amazing in my opinion. And she's somebody who will bring up like Jewish identity, but at the same time has no beef with somebody like Nick Fuentes. So I really like how she's able, and I believe she was on with the Convo Couch a while back too, the populist left. So she's just if she weren't just a Trump activist right now, she'd be like right up there as far as journalists go. But she's still up there because she posts the truth, in my opinion. Some people debate that, but we're going to see what's happened August 18th. I would not miss that so Tim Pool has 3 different channels. Probably most people who watch this know that. The channel that has Tim Space Pool, not Timcast, not Timcast IRL, the other one, the Tim Space Pool. And she's got great videos on Rumble too. And she brings the receipts when she talks. So I guarantee you when she's doing this, she's going to bring the receipts. Everybody's looking forward to it. This is like a heavyweight fight for the geeks that watch this stuff. Brian Jacobson's a DeSantis person. He says, I will not give Tim the satisfaction of a click. Agreeing to this was not a good idea. He's probably talking to Bill. What are you scared of, Brian? What are you scared of? So the DeSantis people, I'll tell you what they're scared of. There was a clip that Laura Loomer tweeted, and we're going to talk about the election. So this is what they're scared of. Ron DeSantis can't really handle it. So he's doing a good job, I think, going to corporate media now. So this is a good thing for him. So if you don't know, he's on the Today. Is this Today? This is from NBC. I think it's going to probably air on MSNBC, but the NBC, Universal, all that background of this channel. So he was on CNN. Now he's doing it. It looks like this is going to be a better one. I don't know if it came out yet. Clips were coming out. Interview. So that's good. But he's kind of safe. Kind of like Trump. The being on the corporate outlet is safe because you're not going to get these out of the corporate thinking question. Let me give you an example why Brian wouldn't go on Timcast. Tim Pool, I played that video maybe yesterday or a couple days ago where they won't go on Tim Pool's show. That's a red flag for me. Why would they not go on Tim Pool's show? Because Tim Pool will ask you whatever he wants to ask you. That's why I appreciate Marjorie Taylor Greene, Thomas Massey. Who else went on there? A ton of all the people. Matt Gaetz, of course. They had Byron Donalds. They had, and to me, from the vibe I get is he can ask whatever he wants to ask. Carrie Lake. He was testing Carrie Lake, especially the first time she came on. Let's listen to this.
Yes or no, did Donald Trump lose the 2020 election?
Whoever puts their hand on the Bible on January 20th every 4 years is the winner.
Okay, but respectfully, you did not clearly answer that question. And if you can't give a yes or no on whether or not Trump lost, then how can...
Of course he lost.
Trump lost the 2020 election.
Of course.
Okay.
Joe Biden's the president.
Yes or...
So that's the clip there. I want to break that down a little bit. DeSantis is getting better. This is not for me to be... I'm not voting DeSantis, but I'm not knocking him necessarily. It's going to be point by point by point. Ron DeSantis is getting better, clearly getting better. It's easy to see. And look at this, though. I do have problems here. And I agree with him on a certain point, but let me break this down. So she goes through, this is Dana Bash, I believe her name is.
Or no, did Donald...
So yes or no, did Donald Trump, the question is very important.
Yes or no, did Donald Trump lose the 2020 election?
That's not the question that I need asked. So if Ron DeSantis, who didn't show up to the Turning Point Action event in his own state, that Turning Point Action is already, in my opinion, like more credibility at least than the RNC. He didn't even show up. Why would he? If he were to talk with Charlie Kirk wouldn't ask him this question. He would ask him a different question. So she asked, did Donald Trump win the 2020 election?
Donald Trump lose the 2020 election?
Of course he lost the 2020 election. Who's in the throne right now? Of course he lost the election. That's not the real issue here, is it, Dana? So what does that mean that he lost the election? Do we believe it was legit? Do we believe it was fair? That's the real question. The bruh's in the throne right now. So you can't argue this. And Ron DeSantis did answer it up front. He was just being cute. But this wasn't like a cute where I don't want to answer. He answered it.
Whoever puts their hand on the Bible on January 20th every 4 years is the winner.
Okay.
See, true. I have no debate, no argument with that. Whoever puts their hand on the Bible, and then she tried to come up, but respectfully, that wasn't clear. She's an empty shell. No, it was actually very clear. That was actually a clear answer. He didn't say yes or no, but it wasn't like him hemming and hawing. He did not hem and haw. That's why DeSantis was like, what are you talking about?
But respectfully, you did not clearly answer that question.
No, you're a clown. He did answer the question. You could have followed up with, wow, that was a pretty strong yes, or however you wanted to, but he clearly said yes. She was kind of anticipating probably.
If you can't give a yes or no on whether...
No, you weren't listening. He clearly gave a yes.
Whether or not Trump lost, then how can...
Of course.
So that's why DeSantis came like that. I was trying to give you like a soundbite yes.
He lost.
Yes, he lost.
Trump lost the 2020 election.
Of course,
Okay.
Joe Biden's the president.
So, yes, that's true. But do you think I would leave the answer there? The real question is Ron DeSantis, Joe Biden is president right now. You look at polling, you go back to 2022 at least one, I think it was Pew Research. One poll said 60% of Republicans don't believe the election was fair and legit or something to that effect. Most of Trump supporters don't believe it was fair and legit, whether they're right or wrong. I'm not making a definitive thing. That's what they believe. And I would consider myself in that boat, but I'm not trying to argue that right now. And you were not going to win at governor. So I would make the question shorter, but let me just set out the scene. You were struggling in your gubernatorial race. Donald Trump came in, and the perception is that Donald Trump, and more importantly, Donald Trump supporters or MAGA populist right, they came in and helped you rise to the stardom you are right now. So I'll break that up into I hate long questions. Break it up into short questions. So they helped rise you to prominence. Do you agree with that or not? Let's start there. Before we get to the election, let's build into this. Do you agree that many of the people who cheered Donald Trump when he was at a rally in Erie, Pennsylvania, reportedly had 9,000 people there or so, maybe more, he packed the arena. Do you agree? And you can't pack arenas. Do you agree with that? See, he's not going to answer. He's not going to go to an environment where Charlie Kirk, not in the way that I'm saying it, but Charlie Kirk will bring that up. Charlie Kirk would be like, I go around, I'm turning on the TV and I see Donald Trump packing arenas. I see you speaking to 20 people on bleachers. Not that there's anything wrong with that. There's something good to have an intimate discussion with people. But let's put it like this. Trump can also do intimate discussions. You can't bring 9,000 to arena. Do you agree or not with that? Okay, so the energy of the base or the group that you're trying to get votes from is with Donald Trump, with the populist right. I've never even heard you address them directly. Why is that, sir? That same group, most of them, whatever percentage you want to pick from whatever poll, when I did it was Republicans. So out of that group is probably way higher than 60%. Don't believe it was legit and fair. What do you have to say to them? You say Joe Biden is president. I agree, obviously. But what do you say to the people who don't like what went down in 2020? That's the part that he doesn't have to answer to on corporate outlets. So that's why I said he can go to The View. The View's not going to test him on that. He will never go to Timcast. That's why Brian Jacobson was like, I'm not going on Timcast, because you will get those questions. Especially since y'all pissed off Tim Pool. Why'd y'all piss off Tim Pool over some dumb? I have no problem pissing off whoever I need to piss off, or not need to, but if I have, I don't care if somebody is offended or pissed off. But what it's over does matter to me. Like over that, Tim just basically brought up that trans star or whatever, and they went too aggressive. They didn't handle that right. And I like Christina Prusab. She's handling the online response team. I think she's doing a good job. A lot of people will disagree with me on that. But I think that was handled poorly. I would have told her, well, hold up. If we want beef with Tim Pool, we can have beef with Tim Pool. But let's think about this. He's had Will Chamberlain on all the time. Will Chamberlain was with DeSantis, reportedly, well, he admitted it, got fired for whatever reason. But he was a team DeSantis. So it's like Tim Pool's not a DeSantis hater. He's been saying a lot of positive things. So let's not use we're on the same side of this overall. So all you have to do is say, yeah, you know what, Tim, let's look into that. We don't like how that went down. There's no reason to start a fire over that. So now Tim is highly pissed off. And then they did that AI picture. So it's not a friendly environment for them idea-wise. So that's the DeSantis election stuff, which I don't like it. I don't think he's good on the election. I have problems with the election. Going through, I got a couple segments I can put up on the Tim Pool channel because he's coming up a lot here. But I brought up the election from the standpoint of the First Amendment, and I said, so Chuck Calesto, sorry about that. Flashback, Tucker outlines what he sees as flat-out criminal fraud in the 2020 Georgia election. And I'm not alleging anything right now. I just want to play this video and then show you how the First Amendment, in my opinion, affects the discourse. This is Tucker before they had to get him up out of there because he's reaching too many normies.
Enough potentially to affect the outcome of the election. Here's another example.
Here's one of the next ones. All right, so same facts, number 234, image number 2, and 235, image number 61. Republican, 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 all the way down to the point where this little spot up in Fannie Willis matches this one over here. There's no question that that ballot was counted twice.
So what's the explanation for this? Well, if you ask Fulton County, these discrepancies...
That's a video there showing that votes that allegedly were counted twice. Fulton County, the same county that's come here, bringing Donald Trump in pretty soon.
The ones you just saw on the screen were isolated incidents. Just a handful of bad ballots. Happens all the time. The county claims that any errors were caught in previous recounts. The problem is that neither one of those claims is true. Surveillance footage obtained by Voter GA appears to show large numbers of ballots being scanned multiple times. Pay attention in the tape we're showing you to the woman wearing yellow at the desk. According to Voter GA, she slides ballots into a scanning machine, removes the ballots, and then reinserts the same ballots. This happens multiple times. The question is, how many times were those ballots counted? Was each vote counted more than once? Fulton County won't answer that question. Now, one way to know the answer would be to check what are called Fulton County failed to provide more than 100,000 of those tally sheets, including 50,000 of them for mail-in ballots. When Voter GA finally forced Fulton County to turn over the tally sheets, the conclusion was stunning. Here's what the audit found. Quote, 7 falsified audit tally sheets containing fabricated vote totals. For example, a batch containing 59 actual ballot images for Joe Biden and 42 for Donald Trump was reported as 100 for Biden and 0 for Trump. The 7 batches of ballot images with 554 votes for Joe Biden, 140 votes for Donald Trump, and 11 votes for Joe Jorgensen had tally sheets in the audit falsified to show 850 votes for Biden, 0 votes for Trump, and 0 votes for Jorgensen. Wait, did you just follow that? How is that not flat-out criminal fraud? We'd love to know, because it certainly sounds like flat-out criminal fraud.
So that's a clip from Tucker. I just got a Rumble rant. So let me digress real quick to make sure to get to it. I greatly appreciate the Rumble. And as you can see, I'm probably not going to be on YouTube that much longer with this type of discussion. They can get you on any type of technicality. So looking at it, I'm going to share the Rumble rants. And Mike has bad needs. Thank you, sir. Mike has bad needs says maybe he didn't apologize. This time on Neo. His publicist probably has the ability to post on his behalf on social media, and maybe that's what actually happened. Well, he's going to have to own that. And it's very well, Mike could be right there. Mike has bad needs, that's what happened, but I'm going to need him to own that. You're going to have to tell you, if that's what happened, I'd be like, my publicist posted that, or I want to take that back, because I don't like trying to throw somebody else under the bus. So I might be like, my apology, I would have been like, rip that up. I'm good. I don't like how the reaction. I tried to apologize for your feelings. I'm just speaking for myself. I just tried to apologize for your feelings because you got in your feelings. I have a right to my opinion. You have a right to yours. You know what? That apology, just rip that up. Forget that never happened. Here's my take. That's what I needed from him. I need something out of the box because right now you got me confused, Neo. So that's Tucker, back to Tucker Carlson. Thank you. Mike has bad knees. Appreciate you. I'm going to do priority on the Rumble. It's going to take me a while to get used to it, but I'm going to do priority on the Rumble. Oh, he did. Oh, maybe I missed that. Sorry. Mike has bad knees says, yeah, he said something about publicist at the start of the rant, but I was listening to that closely. Thank you. Appreciate you. So before I start digging a hole, I missed that. I listened to it, but maybe I just missed that beginning part, or maybe that's not the whole thing. And, thank you. So if he did say that, then I might have to, I have to do a 4th segment on the Neo stuff. And this segment is me saying, okay, Neo kind of cleaned it up. I don't know. I'll have to look at it and see. If it is something I feel like I have to clean up to be fair for him, then I will do it. Appreciate you as always. Mike has bad knees. Over at Rumble, going to the Tucker, the Tucker situation, So Tucker shows the courage. He's on there. And I want to bring this back to the First Amendment. So somebody under here, William Churchill, under here says, Tim Cass on the Sunday podcast said that you would have to see the tally to believe that Fulton County ballots that were delivered in the middle of the night were fraudulent. Well, here it is. Please tell me what you believe after viewing this. So I'm, Tim's way more advanced than me, but I think we have the same type of mentality where even though I really like Tucker, I think Tucker's well-sourced. I trust what he's got. I got to look at it myself. I haven't looked at that data myself. I believe it's true, but I'm not going to make anything definitive without saying it. But so then I replied to William Churchill and said, to me, just thinking about Tim Pool is in general, and the reason why is not to talk about Tim Pool, it's about look at how the First Amendment, it affects your people who have reach and a platform and prominence potentially. So everything I say here is speculation, but it's not to talk about Tim Pool as a person or diss him like that. It's more just saying, to me, I'm looking at the violation of the First Amendment. What is the tangible consequence it has in our discussion? So what happened to me with Tim Pool is a perfect example of why they violated the First Amendment in talking about election in the 2020 election. You couldn't talk about it on YouTube at that time, and I don't know what you can talk about now. So you couldn't talk about it then, and that's why I always say if I want to make a definitive statement, I'll do that. I'm not making any definitive statement. So if they do the strike, they go do what they do. I'll be on Rumble, but don't lie and say it's because I was making some type of claim. I haven't made any claims. I'm sharing the bigger picture than that. So Tim would just avoid the topic. He would say, well, they were talking about servers in other countries that were taken over by military and stuff like that. That was, I don't know if that's true or not, but that was like the wild stuff. That wasn't what people were talking about. I went down in the nitty gritty stuff, simple stuff that Tim Pool would normally be way more knowledgeable and researched on than me to look at it to see, wait, experts came in. Dr. Shiva Ayadori came in, and Michigan had they had their own hearings that weren't even official hearings because the states wouldn't let them do it with Giuliani and them. They brought incredible people asking questions, and I've never made like definitive like, oh, this is proof. What I've said is there's questions, and Tim hasn't asked any of the questions. He hasn't even talked about most of the topics that I talk about when I question what happened in 2020. But at the same time, he did the right thing. It was more important to keep his platform than dig into this stuff. So Steve had Steve Bannon on and others to talk about it after his show. Steve Bannon, I don't think did a good job with it. He was too vague. This was in the after show on his website where you can talk about whatever you want. It's hosted by Rumble, but you can basically talk about whatever you want as long as you don't go Nick Fuentes and start talking about life or death in a way that rubs people the wrong way. Not that I agree with him getting banned, but we know where the boundary is now, especially with certain group of people. So Tim had Steve Bannon and others talk about it. Steve Bannon was very vague. He didn't do a good job, but Tim hadn't dug into the stuff himself. Normally Tim's the one to give you this is what happened here. So instead, Tim was like, you tell me what the election issues were. And I'm like, Tim, that's not normally you. Tucker, that's not Tucker. Tucker doesn't remember. Tucker said that thing about, I'm hearing that at the time it was called Twitter. I'm hearing that the Twitter platform is, she said something like questionable and let us know or something like that. I'm like, what is that? Tucker doesn't do that. Tucker tells you what he thinks. So it's the same type of thing here. It's not his style. So why is he relying on Steve Bannon for stuff? You usually dig into stories. Tim never talked about the CISA issues. That was one of the biggest things. And what that was CISA saying, yes, not only were the voting machines hackable, they were extremely vulnerable. And the Dominion, this is the same company that's suing people. Dominion, I've played these videos. They're still on YouTube right now. The Dominion, on this channel, the Dominion representative, I think it's the CEO, the Dominion CEO said, no, it's not possible to hack the machines. The government, this is the group that Trump signed into, CISA. They released a report that said, absolutely, they can. In fact, we're very vulnerable. In fact, we recommend upgrading or whatever immediately. So we don't know why. So if it was hackable, were they hacked? We don't know. I haven't even heard Tim talk about that. At least from the CISA, the government is the one that said this. That's why I like bringing that up. I didn't bring that up. The government brought that up. And so I said, why would Tim dig in, or anybody? Just take anybody. Why would anybody dig into this stuff when it takes a lot of time? So that's opportunity cost, taking away from other things that maybe videos you could do that could go viral or whatever to keep your company going if you've got a company and you eat off of this. So why would you dig into stuff that takes a lot of time? It risks you losing all your income. So you look at risk versus reward. Tim is he played poker. You look at risk, what are the odds? What's the risk versus reward? I'm never going to spend hours on something, at least him. I'm in a different place. I'm going to get to that. Tim's not going to spend hours on a topic that he can't do videos on to get him any type of revenue. That's just not, it's just not going to work. And why did that happen? Because they violated the First Amendment. That's the power of it. Yes, you, Google. I'm talking about you. Yes, you violated the First Amendment in conjunction with the government. So that's why everybody has their own role to play. Some people don't have as much to risk. Some people maybe don't eat as much as like a Tim Pool, but they can make money off of talking about election issues on Rumble or wherever else. So those people have taken time to dig into it. That's why I say I give Tim a lot of credit to have Laura Loomer on there. She's not going to get too much. They're not going to get too much into that. I don't think they're going to be more policy Trump versus DeSantis, but it's going to be a good discussion. And that's why I strongly disagree with Dr. Shiva that I don't see Tim being a part of the problem. I see him more being part of the solution. But you see the tough spot it puts you in. I don't know if this is what really happened, but it's legitimate to wonder. This is the position you put people in who are independent creators. You concentrate the power. You tell people what they can't talk about. You can't make money. Even if you could make a video that didn't get you struck or your channel wiped out, you weren't going to get it monetized. So there was no reward to do the work for that type of stuff, unless you're like a Steve Bannon or somebody else. So that's that take there. Bishop says, y'all need to do another collaboration. It has been a minute. Yeah, we got to do, man. When Ray comes on, man, it's for real. We're going to set that up. I just have a few topics to get through. We're gonna definitely set that. I think he's talking about with Ray Studios. We're going to set that up. I want you to compare. Before I do that, I just want to show that deleted tweets here. Laura Loomer is preparing for her debate. She is not a joke. And she's like, in preparation for his debate with me on Timcast, full-time DeSantis ball licker and anti-Trump grifter. Full-time DeSantis ball licker and anti-Trump grifter Bill Mitchell has deleted over 9,500 of his previous pro-Trump tweets so that he can pretend like he didn't build his entire brand off of President Trump's name. Yeah, but I agree with Bill that I don't really. I think it's worth mentioning. Right before the debate, he deleted 9,000, like she didn't have them already, but 9,000 tweets. But I want to talk about Trump DeSantis and not even Trump DeSantis. I want to talk about the supporters. Everybody talks about Trump too much. It's more about the people who support Trump. And then so she has the receipts about him deleting. Bill Mitchell, known deleted. She always has the receipts. 9,595 tweets. She's like, I seen you. I don't know. What does she do? Does she have somebody monitoring this stuff? Like, how does she have time to do that? She is efficient. I don't know if she has a team or what, but she's not one that you're gonna go to a debate not ready for. She's ready for you, boy. DeSantis, I will go to this DeSantis abortion topic. What I want to do is throw out to you, like, hey, what do you value more in the discussion? And what I'm talking about is abortion. So let's take a look at this. DeSantis on abortion, then Trump on abortion. I'm just going to let them play, and then I want to hear what you have to say about both of these. This is in that Trump-Dana Bash interview.
That tries to put a nationwide ban in place?
So
I always have to bring it back. Bring it back.
So would you veto any sort of federal bill that tries to put a nationwide ban in place?
So we will be a pro-life president, and we will support pro-life policies. I would not allow what a lot of the left wants to do, which is to override pro-life protections throughout the country all the way up really until the moment of birth in some instances, which I think is infanticide.
Well, actually, I got to push back on you on that because that's a misrepresentation of what's happening. I mean, that 1.3% of abortions happen at 21 weeks or higher. There's no evidence of Democrats pushing for abortions up until...
Their view is that all the way up into that, yet there should not be any legal protections.
There is no indication of Democrats pushing for that.
Well, yes, they are. They've done it in California. They've done it in other states.
They have not instituted that policy.
Yeah, they have. Yeah, they have. They basically will say that, you know, if there's some type of they'll use like different ways to really have a wide exception for it.
It's extremely rare, 1.3%, and in those circumstances, they're typically extremely emotional decisions.
Well, no, I mean, I don't say that that's the norm in terms of this, but I do think that the left in this country has moved on from a position that said, you know what, we do want to discourage abortion, it's not something that's a good thing, to now viewing it more as a positive good for society. And I think most Americans, regardless of how they feel on legal protections, I don't think most Americans think it's a positive good for society. It's obviously a tragic circumstance.
So that's DeSantis on abortion there. Then let's go to Trump from the CNN town hall with Caitlin, what's her name, Collins? Caitlin Collins.
The way I look, I think it's very important to say this. I consider the other side to be radical because the other side, under Roe v. Wade and other things, the other side, they're radical because they will. Remember the debate with Hillary Clinton? They said, rip the baby out of the womb at the end of the 9th month. They will kill the baby in the 9th month. If you look at that crazy governor of Virginia from the former governor, where he said, no, the baby will be born, and then we'll decide essentially whether or not to execute the baby.
But, Mr. President, can we talk about what you would do if
these are the radical people. It's not the pro-life people that are radical.
But if you are reelected and you're back in the Oval Office and you get legislation to your desk, would you sign a federal abortion ban into law?
What I'll do is negotiate so that people are happy. But the fact that I was able, I'm so proud of it. We put 3 great justices on the Supreme Court. We have almost 300 federal judges on the Supreme Court.
So just to be clear, Mr. President, you would sign a federal abortion ban into law.
I said this. I want to do what's right, and we're looking, and we want to do what's right for everybody.
But what's right?
But now, for the first time, the people that are pro-life have negotiating capability because you didn't have it before. They could kill the baby in the 9th month or after the baby was born. Now they won't be able to do that.
But I think this is a really important question for you to answer because this is something every Republican, including those who are running against you for the nomination, are being asked about is, would you sign a federal abortion ban into law?
And many of them are going to give you the same answer as I am. First of all, I am honored to have done what I did. And a lot of people said, in 150 years, he's now the most consequential president because he saved so many lives. And I'm honored to have done it. And because of what I've done, we now have a great negotiating ability. That's what I do in life. I negotiate. We have a great negotiating ability, and I think we're going to be able to get something done.
What do you mean negotiating?
So there's the two answers between the two, and there's good and there's bad with both. DeSantis was a little bit more clumsy, but he saved it, and I just want to kind of highlight pieces of it here.
Sort of federal bill that tries to put a nationwide ban in place?
So we will be a pro-life president, and we will support pro-life policies.
So that's a clumsy answer. So that one is not a clear yes or no. The other one with the Biden one was a yes or no. This is not a yes or no.
That tries to put a nationwide ban in place?
So we will be a pro-life president.
So if you're a pro-life president, what does that mean as far as signing the bill? He didn't answer the question. And you might argue it's not a good question for these politicians to answer. Trump didn't answer it either. But we will be a pro-life president. It's just a weird, I don't know, it's just an awkward, very corporate 80s, 90s type of approach. Donald Trump's approach was way more authentic, way more, it caught your attention more.
And we will support pro-life policies. I would not allow what a lot of the left wants to do, which is to override pro-life protections throughout the country, all the way up really until the moment of birth in some instances, which I think is infanticide.
Well, actually, I got to push back on you on that because that's a misrepresentation of what's happening. I mean, that 1.3% of abortions happen at 21 weeks or higher. There's no evidence.
So if that's not what happens, why? So Ron DeSantis needs to be a little bit more fluid, in my opinion, with the interviewer. So if that's not what happens, why are you giving me the statistics of when it happens? What's the relevancy? I didn't say it happens all the time.
Of Democrats pushing for
but their
abortions
view
up
is,
until
their view is that all the way up into that, yet there should not.
See, Trump did a better job here. See, Trump is more of a culture warrior in that he did a good job. Trump said, we're not the radicals, you are. I'm pro-choice, by the way, so I'm not doing we, but as far as legislatively, so personally, I'm pro-life. I wouldn't want to abort, but so he's trying to do the same thing Trump did. Trump effectively said, you're trying to paint me as a radical. They're the radicals. So then he did that where I don't think Hillary said it at the debate. I think Trump said it at the debate, but he brought it back almost like Hillary said it in a good way to make his point, like yank the baby out the womb.
Not be any legal protections.
There is no indication of Democrats pushing for that.
Well, yes, they are. They've done it in California. They've done it in other states.
They have not instituted that policy.
I don't like this new style. This is not normal. We never used to see questions like this that were activist type responses. I always like to see a politician challenged, but this is like activism. So she's saying no, and she doesn't. What, do you have the bill there? Like what is your backing to say no? She's trying to do fact checking in real life. That's not your job. That's not your job to do the fact check. If you have the facts here, you can say, well, I'm seeing in this state it only allows it up to this point. But that's not what she did. She's doing this activism journalist stuff, which is, and they're not pretending to be journalists, but it just never used to be like this. This is really cringe.
Not be any legal protections.
There is no indication of Democrats pushing for that.
Well, yes, they.
That's not, what do you mean there's no? That's not, like you don't have anything backing that. So she's doing activism. She's trying to debate him like that's not your role. Just ask the questions. If you've got facts, say the facts and ask his opinion. Really bad stuff. And Caitlin Collins did it too. That's why Trump had to be very creative with her.
They are. They've done it in California. They've done it in other states.
They have not instituted that policy.
Yeah,
you could tell by her voice, and she's like, damn, I got to say this. I don't want to say this. I don't have the facts with me. Or she's not going to at least do it in this clip. You can't say that if you're not going to just bring like some type of receipt.
Yeah, they have. They basically will say that, if there's some type of they'll use like different ways to really have a wide exception for it.
It's extremely rare, 1.3%, and in those circumstances, they're typically extremely emotional decisions.
Well, no, I mean, I don't say that that's the norm in terms of this, but I do think that the left in this country has moved on from a position that said, you know what, we do want to discourage abortion. It's not something that's a good thing, to now viewing it more as a positive.
And he saved it.
Good for society. And I think most Americans, regardless of how they feel on legal protections, I don't think most Americans think it's a positive good for society. It's obviously a tragic circumstance.
So I think he saved it at the end there. I think Trump's answer is better because I like how Trump said negotiating. What he's saying is that we don't want it to go to the place where it's legal it's codified into law where it can be legal up to any time. Now you've got leverage to make sure that doesn't happen, is the way I interpreted Trump. And that's the way I got to look at it. And the way Trump said it, I want everybody to be happy. I think that's his inarticulate way of saying it should be up to the states. And I wish Trump would have just said that if that's what he meant. Broken Traditions, what's up, man? Haven't hollered at you in a while. I got to catch that live you did with Ray Studios yesterday. Still haven't had a chance to go back yet. Glenn Venezuelan says President Trump 2024. I like the vibe. Do you think he can do it? Hey, we'll have to see if he could do it or not. For some reason, George Floyd came up recently. And I think George Floyd was trending because of that NASCAR story, but George Floyd was trending and Maj Toure had a take on it. I'm going to talk about Maj Toure, Mises Caucus for a second. I think he reps Mises Caucus, by the way. Tim Cast has a new article out that kind of shows that. Maj Toure says George Floyd was an American murdered by the state. If you think liking effed up memes about him is a win and how to own the left, I question your tactical capability and values. Is it more badass to laugh at the death of Americans by police or educating how unchecked state agents kill because they feel above the law? Some people like laughing at murders. Others use unfortunate scenarios as building blocks for liberty. Some see it as a tragedy to unify, others as a joke to show how edgy and based they are. Chess players are dope. Clowns never amused me personally. And I think the Mises Caucus has a problem. And this is the tweet there that I just read. I think the Mises Caucus has a problem because I'm not involved. I don't get involved politically and all that, which I should be, but I just paid the dues to sign up for the Libertarian Party. But even bigger than that, I kind of virtue signal for them. But I can't do that with these types of takes. These type of takes are incompatible with liberty. These are the Joe Jurgensen type. I mean, you're really close to that. It's not good enough to be not racist. You must be anti-racist. I mean, he's not there, but he's really close to there. George Floyd was murdered. Where are we getting that from? I know a lot of people kind of assume like that's a fact. That ain't no fact. So you coming from this high horse, it's not in a good place because he had a lot going on and we don't know. We don't have to agree. I looked at the coroner's report and the autopsy. They both had, the defense had one and the prosecution had one, and you can believe what you want to believe, but it's not a clear thing that this little ass police officer murdered him. So that's number one. I don't believe that as a underlying fact for us to base our argument off of. Definitely not to get ignorant. If you believe that, that's perfectly fine. I can't prove you otherwise, and you can't prove me wrong otherwise. We don't know what happened to him. We don't know if he would have died or not if he didn't have the speedball in him. So I don't want a strong take on something that it'd be almost like having a strong take on anything you can't prove. And I say, Steve Bannon's got better takes than that. I mean, way better takes than that. So I posted this underneath Maj, and Maj, it's weird. Maj does not, I don't want him to, block me, but he can if he wants, but he hasn't blocked me. We have our disagreements, but he hid the comment. So I don't know what the purpose of that is, but here's the comment he hid. I was like, Steve Bannon has a way better take than Maj Touré. What's going on here?
What part of the movie is this where Steve Bannon, the guy who was portrayed as the Grim Reaper on Saturday Night Live, is the one that has the best, most heartfelt, most emotional, most populist take away from the George Floyd death?
I mean, let's go to Mr. Floyd and I say this all the time about George Floyd, and I don't want to talk about the crime that was committed against him. That's a different topic. But I'll say, let's look at his life, right? When he died, he had CCP virus, he had COVID-19. He was on fentanyl and opioids, right? And he didn't have a great job because all the manufacturing jobs shipped overseas. Think of what George Floyd's life would have been if we had had a manufacturing base. He would be a supervisor or a foreman at a factory or a junior management. He'd be opening up his summer home to go fishing up in the lake country in Minnesota, with his second home up there, a little cabin he could share. If he didn't have the opioids that shipped in by the Chinese Communist Party through the cartels in Mexico across open borders, with everybody making money on the way up and the huge profits in that, to poison him and no opportunity for a job, and to top it all off, the Chinese Communist Party virus that the elites and the scientific priesthood has basically helped fund and helped do. He had the CCP COVID-19 virus in him. He had the virus in him. He had fentanyl in him. He didn't have access to a great job because all the great manufacturing jobs are shipped off. Look, that's the Greek tragedy to me of George Floyd, is that he was in that position that day. And by the way, let's talk about the fake 20. Well, that's also the CCP, and we know that these foreign entities are putting out this fake money all the time with the opioids to do it. That was what the counterfeit bill was.
So you see, Steve Bannon comes with a take that it has nothing to do with race. So why am I going to, you see why I like MAGA, I like populists, I think libertarians are populists, and I think MAGA are populists. So that's kind of the connection. So why am I looking at a a person associated with the Mises Caucus coming to me with very similar takes to Democratic corporate talking points. I mean, he's kind of going with defund the police, and he's going with the race card here. And why am I signing up? Why do I need to promote the Libertarian Party for that nonsense? Steve Bannon comes with a take, and he says, the first thing he says is, put the crime aside. Why does he say that? Because you get into the stuff where I say, like, wait, who killed what? I don't believe that. So he's like, get that stuff out of there. So he took the race out the way. He said, take the crime aside. It's people are just out of their mind. It's just, you can't talk about it. Let's talk about something we can all agree on, I hope. He had all this stuff in there, a lot of it going back to China, objectively. And then he brings in, without having to say, this is why you should support Trump, this is why you should support MAGA. He doesn't say blacks for MAGA. Now, he does get into a little bit of that, very little, but I don't think it's too bad. When Steve Bannon says black men are coming over, he doesn't like make it like, oh, this is my black man speech. I listen to War Room all the time. He doesn't say, oh, this one's for black people. No, that's not how he does. None of the Blexic or none of that type of stuff. So he says, make America great again. Listen to when he says, I'm assuming the best out of George Floyd. I'm assuming the best. If the jobs were not decimated and you made America great again, just pulling that in with the slogan, he would have his own house out in the lakes in Minnesota. That's a take that's respectful. That's assuming that George Floyd is a smart, hardworking dude and just needed that right opportunity. That is where I want to go. Who do you think I'm going to go to, Maj Touré or Steve Bannon? So I have a problem, Mises Caucus. You got to do, I mean, you don't have to do anything, but I can't roll with that. And it's not what I expected to see. I don't know why he's rising in prominence. And there's an article on Timcast. Let me see if I can find it through here without digging for the link. And this goes through to him doing more of this black outreach. And I'm like, what do we need this for? Let's see here. Read. I think it should be at the top. Neo-defense is a position. Black voter support for Democrats. Libertarians make their push. So here's the article. Exclusive as black voter support for Democrats fades. Libertarians make their pitch. So Steve Bannon, to me, right there, made a pitch to all Americans. And that was very respectful. And if you want to really use the word inclusive to black Americans, here it is. Maj Touré is leading a multi-city tour to recruit urban black Americans to the Libertarian Party. And that's why I don't like the Black Guns Matter slogan, because now it's like identitarian's okay because we're pro 2A, so black guns matter. No, Maj Touré has found a way to have racial power within the Libertarian Party based on race. That's his power in the Libertarian Party. It's incompatible. It's completely incompatible with my idea of liberty. Maj Touré is leading this thing here. And let's see here. Maj Touré, people that are liberty-based, we have an opportunity with the Libertarian Party, whether that's on the state level or the national level, trying to make that a little bit bigger, to direct and remove some of the stranglehold that extreme leftist propaganda or democratic policies have in urban America. Founder of the Black Guns Matter told Timcast News. Black voters have typically voted for candidates registered for the Democratic Party at least 90%. We've talked about that. Heading into the 2024 cycle, we've got crime, we've got decimation of manufacturing jobs that Steve Bannon was talking about, criminal justice issues. And see, he's going to those other issues here. Worried that black Americans are finally moving away from Democrats in greater numbers. And it's really more men. I don't see the proof of women, but I do think there's more substantial men leaving it. And so Brittany Smith, executive director of the Philadelphia-based Black Leadership PAC, which works to turn out black voters, told the Post that the manner in which black people respond to her efforts has shifted in recent years. So when you look at the political campaigns, they all do this stuff. They divide people up into Asian, white working, white college, white non-college, white some college, women. So they dice all this stuff up into racial groups all the time. But to me, going out there and saying I'm on a tour to get black people is not what I want to hear. And I think it's good. I think the message of being trained properly and pro 2A, and here's why, because there's a lot of people who think the Second Amendment wrongly is some type of racial thing, because in the past you had the federal government and you had the Bill of Rights, and before the 14th Amendment, what happened was states and local areas infringed on the Bill of Rights. States had way more power back then until I don't know what year that is. 1796 or something? I forget what year, but the 14th Amendment really, I think, is what changed that around. So I think if you can get that, I don't know how you do that. I don't know how you change that, but I don't like he's talked out on Matt Walsh, and now it's George Floyd. Now people are saying, hey, why are you, this is in regards to the guy who got suspended from NASCAR. Why is he getting suspended for liking a post? And that's the response from the Libertarian Party. It just doesn't vibe for me. And I know I'm not what your, typical black voter or whatever. He's trying to get Democrats, so maybe he's trying to be like a Democrat. I don't know. I don't like that. I don't like that philosophy at all. I think it's going to have to be a different way. Mike has bad knees, and man, you lost a lot of weight. See, that's what I was saying. You could make that progress. Mike's like, who's that? Let me go to the chat, Mike. See, that's when you're on video, and you go back to Tim or other people too. You can see who lost weight or gained. Look at Laura. If you go back at Laura Loomer's old video, she probably lost like the same amount of weight I did. She was plump. Not fat or obese or anything. She was heavy. She was bigger, and you could tell like, oh, like that, is that Laura? And even Tim Pool's cheeks were bigger, but Mike has bad knees. Is like, where was it? Mike bad knees says, man, you've lost a lot of weight. Libertarians are also usually against the police. Yes, I agree, but it's in a different way. Libertarians are against the police to me from a standpoint of, you can't just defund the police. It's more replace it with private security. And so libertarians have to have a deeper conversation than the corporate Democrat side is defund the police, make the federal government more powerful. In fact, federal government is taking over. I don't know if that started or not, if that passed. I think the federal government's taking over the Minnesota Police Department in part after the investigation of the George Floyd stuff. So they like centralized control with the government. For whatever reason, they don't like local police. I think that's because they tend to vote a Republican, and then recently MAGA, which is a real sin. So libertarians don't say defund the police and yay FBI. That's what these clowns are doing. Or yay Capitol Police coming through, or yay ATF, or yay CIA. That's what they do. Libertarians have to explain defund the police, but that also corresponds with defunding the FBI. They don't say defund the FBI. You see libertarians say defund them all and replace them with security that you own. So if you don't have a lot of money, what you would need to do is pool those resources together. Even if you don't have that much money, if you don't have that much money, you're typically living in a concentrated area with thousands of other people. So unless you literally have nothing, you've got a little something you will have. It's not taxes. It's like I'm putting my money in a pool, and in my block, we all put in whatever per month, and we've got private security for our block or something like that. That's the libertarian approach. You see, it's harder to explain. I have to think about the best way to explain that. Yeah, I like that. Glenn, I like that. So that reminds me of Rush Limbaugh. So Rush Limbaugh, I play the clip all the time where he's like, we conservatives don't see identity, don't see race, we see potential. And he lived that and was about that. He had jokes and stuff people didn't like, they got in their feelings. But when George Floyd happened, George Floyd went on with the Breakfast Club. I've played that clip too. George Floyd went on with the Breakfast Club and said, it saddens my heart to see what happened with George Floyd. He went on with them, and they, drilled him, and he was like, I'm sorry, I hate to see this. I feel for you guys. Rush Limbaugh did that. Now, they were both on the same overall radio company. Was it Clear, Broadcasting or whatever? And so that's how they had the connection. But he went on and did that. The reason I bring that up, Glenn Venezuelan says, let's talk about Ashley Babbitt. People talk about Rush Limbaugh as he's some demon. Steve Bannon as if he's some demon. You heard his take on George Floyd, not demons. And who has done that? Has the Breakfast Club gone on any other show and said, let's talk about, I'm just coming humble. Rush Limbaugh came on our show when George Floyd died and tried to reach out, didn't compromise his beliefs, but just he wasn't there to force his beliefs on that black audience or them. He came there. He didn't have to. Legendary, the legend Rush Limbaugh. Humbly, I'm sorry. I know this is hurtful for you, and then he's like, it's hurtful for all of us. And did one of them, those types, maybe they did, I never saw it. Did one of those types go on another show and say, Ashley Babbitt, I'm sorry I'm sorry to hear that happened. We're all broken up. You ask me whatever questions you want about it, just like Rush did. No, they don't do that. And that means something. Oh, Twitch, I got a spammer on Twitch. That's funny. Cyan says, sorry, but I put her name in the same boat as Floyd. Did she deserve to die? Of course not. However, like Floyd, she did put herself in a bad position, meaning in part is responsible for his own death. I agree completely with Cyan on Ashley Babbitt. But they're both sad, both made mistakes that led up to their own, they have to take responsibility for their passing. But the part that I go after that, Cyan, is I say that the similarities should have had us saying, okay, you're upset about Floyd. It's a sad story, but I don't know if I can even say I'm upset about Floyd. He was a crackhead who resisted arrest. But what I do care about is that many people in the country felt hurt by what they saw. So I can say that. And same with Ashley Babbitt. She made mistakes or whatever, but she was no criminal record, none of that. Not like Floyd, who held up a woman, put a gun at a woman's abdomen. George Floyd. They got a statue. They used to have a statue of him in New York. But Ashley Babbitt served the country. Just seemed like a patriot. Was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Bad decision. But then looked like she was trying to pull somebody back. And why would you bop or I forgot how many shots, but shoot out at her? So why can't we kind of go together and say, okay, we both got things that one side thinks more about than the other. There's similarities here. How do we kind of bond together? Rush Limbaugh did that. Rush Limbaugh, that's a leader right there. So Rush Limbaugh is probably the best establishment dude of all time. I've never seen an establishment dude, a corporate dude, a TV radio personality that was that heartfelt. He didn't have to do none of that. It was amazing. Rush Limbaugh was an amazing dude. Mike has bad knees. $2 Rumble Rant. Rumble Rants are good because you can't donate on YouTube. They kind of said no more money for you, but you could do it on Rumble, and Rumble lets you keep 100% right now. Yeah, Mike has bad knees says, yeah, the Dems defund the police. Did you catch the nod to private security snuck in the door by the Gooding character in ISOM 2? I didn't see that. Yet. We're only like a quarter in. So the Gooding character is that the one with the drones? Because let me see where we're at. I didn't get to read to them yet last night, so we're still only a quarter in. Where's my bookmark? Mike had bad knees got me opening up the book, the ISO book. Oh, Eric July, did you get a private security nod in there? So I'm looking at Chad Run. So this is it right here. You can see some pages on the ISOM 2. And I think Gooding is the one, So we left off on this page right here. This is probably more than it's like a quarter in. So, I don't even know. What page is that? Did they page? I don't know. But this is Gooding. Gooding Services. This is who Mike has bad knees is talking about. And I didn't peep that. So maybe I actually missed it because I'm reading to the kids. So I like to read it on my own after I read it to the kids because it's just like I don't even like reading out loud. But there was I don't want to spoil it, but something happened, and this guy came in and kind of cleaned up the thing. So okay, Mike, I'll be on the lookout for that. I did not peep it. That's where we left off, is but on that little kind of funny advertising for Gooding in Isom too. I just want to give a quick shout out. This is I think a feel good story, and like Micah Has Bad Needs was like, bro, you lost a lot of weight. I probably did. Like I was probably 225 to 2. That was probably the heavy end, to be honest. But maybe at the heavy end, 220. I don't think I ever got to 230, but 225, I think I might have touched. Like if I had the wrong dinner, or if I had like the wrong pizza dinner or something like that with like some pop or so, something that bloats you up, I probably got to 225. And right now, probably anywhere from 189 to 192. So a good little bit. The cameras on Tim Cass just puff your cheeks out. I mean, Tim looks bigger on the cameras than in real life. Those cameras are like maybe more like TV cameras, good cameras. And that other camera, the way I was doing my videos back in the day, was higher quality. But it took me a long ass time to do them. What did I want to show here? Oh yeah, this good story. I like this story, man. It's just short, but shout out to women, like real women that put their work in. That's why I wanted to do this. I don't know why I felt so passionate about it. Maybe because I'm trying to get my work. I didn't work out today. I'm not proud of that. You can't slip, man. You got to keep going. I can do something right down here, even if it's a half an hour walk or something. Take the kids to the park after this. Can listen to Tim Cass. Tim's about to start pretty soon, but I'm gonna listen to Tim Cass. I listen to it after the fact all the time, but listen to Tim Cass, take a walk. I mean, any little thing helps. But so I look at this and that's not the right. It's not the right one, but let me get it over there. I look at this as an inspiration and it's kind of like refreshing to see a biological woman. The CrossFit Games, she's no Barbie and she didn't come to party. I think she's attractive in her own right. I don't even need to say she's no Barbie. She's like the weightlifting Barbie. The work is paid off, and Laura, I think her name is Laura Horvath. So you can see her there. She's a good-looking young lady. Right there. Very strong, though, like not your normal. So you take a look at it. Hails from Hungary and completed the 4-stage competition of the 2023 No Bull CrossFit Games to earn the title of fittest on earth. And my wife's actually working hard. I wanted to lose weight, and that was kind of my big thing, or just be more healthy. And she's actually lifting, so she's getting stronger. Not like this, but she can get to that. This woman's a little stockier. But here's you go. Let me show. Is this the one that shows some of her work? No, let me show the one that she gets some work in here. There should be a video. Yeah. So here's a little 20-second video of her getting that work in. Shout out. Look at those legs. My goodness. Beast right there. That's some great shape. That's some great shape right there. And to me, still looks feminine. Now, what do you think, guys? Not that it matters. I mean, if she wants to look masculine, that's fine. But I think that's about as thick and big you can get. And I think she's still feminine. Just power. Really inspiration. Look at that. Look at those quads and hams, man. Those things are, woo. It makes me, I almost have to stop the live and go work out, man, because I think one of her legs is probably bigger than both of mine put together at this point. Just looking at this. Impressive. Really, really impressive stuff working out, man. That's not easy. That's dedication. And then seeing her celebrate. Take a swig. And then this is the interview with her after she won.
I just want to prove that my body, whatever it looks like, can do these amazing things.
As the fittest woman on earth, you are a role model for athletes, for women, and especially for young girls looking at the sport who want to prove what they can do mentally and physically. How does it feel to you to be a role model for all of them?
It's a little pressure, but I'm just very happy that me and my body can do this, and I'm not looking at the new Barbie movie. Oh, I want to look like that. I want to look like what I look like.
It's fine.
And I just want to prove that my body, whatever it looks like, can do these amazing things and move things from A to B and run fast and lift heavy and all those things. And I'm just very excited that little girls and also teenagers look up to all these amazing girls that are here, because our bodies are not us, we are what's inside. And it's amazing what our bodies can do if you put the work in.
As the fittest woman on earth, you are a role model for athletes, for women.
So I thought that was a good moment there. Just wanted to share that. I just came across it and I was like, wow, man, that was really cool. For some reason, I was like, man, I was really invested in that post from, I think I subscribed to them, the CrossFit Games. Oh, no, I don't subscribe to them. So somebody must have retweeted it. But I think in the age, one of the things is with the biological men competing with women, it's kind of like now you see there's appreciation for what biological women can do, at least for me. There's a random Laura Loomer. She's like, oh, feeling cute today. There's something so fun and liberating about being a redhead now. But you can see how much weight she's lost. I don't have any old videos, but she's probably lost maybe even more than I lost. She almost looks like really skinny right now. Looking great, Laura. Can't wait to see that debate. Debate on Tim Pool's show. Let me go to the chat real quick here. Okay, so Mike Has Bad Need says, you're at the ad. I don't want to spoil anything, but the ad has the idea. Get firefighting, security, etc. for $49.99 a month. I like that. Because you could tell up to that point with the ad in the ISOM 2 that they talked about he contracted him out. So it's good. That's why I said with Eric July, you really have to bring these concepts in. You don't beat anybody. I mean, I don't need to tell Eric. Eric's got it. He knows what to do. He's not going to beat anybody over the head with it. Just add it in as a real life consequence and stuff like that. I do have an update, just a quick update here on I don't know the inner workings of the Mises Caucus, and I think very highly of Michael Heiss. So I call him the Steve Bannon of the Libertarian Party. So I think very highly of him. I don't want to come across the wrong way. But here's the update. I don't know what's going on with Dave. Dave decided to sit out or just hasn't decided yet. I don't know what's going on there. But somebody replied to me on Maj and says with information that maybe it's probably common knowledge. Well, I do know that Maj was Heiss's choice. Michael Heiss and Maj are tight. Heiss is fine with what Maj is saying. Don't forget, Maj was Heiss's choice for Dave Smith's VP before Dave decided to sit out of the presidential race. So that sounds like somebody knows what's going on. Damn. But I want him to do the best for his family. So there's not going to really be a party like we thought, y'all. So whether or not, maybe there's somebody better. I don't know. Somebody good. Why didn't Larry Sharp do it? I know he's doing governor of New York. He's really good. He recently sat down with Dr. Karlin Borisenko. So whether or not Maj is good or bad for the LP libertarians in general, Libertarian Party, what's the MC called again? I forgot. The leadership are fine with him. I just want to appreciate that update. I'm just going to say appreciate that info. I support Heiss, curious what he might say to defend identity-focused approach. And I think Michael Heiss is like, we want to expand in urban areas, and we're just going to say it's black areas. I mean, that's fine. I don't hear Michael Heiss talk about race at all, so it's just kind of weird that, I don't want to say weird, it's just different than what I hear from him. So that's an update on that side. So it looks like, at least anecdotally, somebody's confirming that Dave Smith has decided, and that makes sense, because I was like, what's going on with him cozying up to, what's his name, RFK? And I'm like, what's that all about? So you can kind of see that figure that out. Zoom is getting into the data wars. They've updated their terms of services. This is via Zero Hedge. Via Zero Hedge, Zoom updates terms of service after AI controversy. So this is the most recent update to this. Been following this update from this morning. As of August 7th at 11 a.m. Pacific, originally posted at 2:30 a.m., they updated to include this. For ease of reference, please find updates from the blogger excerpt below. We've updated our terms. This is Zoom. We've updated our terms of service to further confirm that we will not use audio, video, or chat customer content to train our artificial intelligence models. Wait for it. Without your consent. So it's just a funny way of saying we reserve the right. You could also rewrite the statement, we reserve the right to, or you could even rewrite it to we will, only with your consent. There's many different ways you can rewrite that legalese statement. But the ending, it says, we're not going to use it without your consent. So, when you click yes on that stuff where it says, hey, we're doing stuff. Can you be one of the cool trainers for Zoom or something like that? What that is potentially you got to read the fine print. So Zoom is in the data wars. So Zoom wants to use your data like nobody else. I don't blame them. It's time to use the data. If you want to, that's kind of the power of your platform. Other than that, there's video platforms all over the place that you can go to. There's nothing special about Zoom that's going to be long-term special about Zoom. So you go through and you say, hey, we will use your data with your permission. And that's the next step. So basically every company is going to be doing the same. It's not illegal, so they'll be doing it. There's not even an attempt for legislative protection on this. And this is where they found out July 26th, there was a concerning caveat in the section that confers upon Zoom a la carte Blanche right to exploit what it coins as service-generated data. That means your data. You are the product. Especially if you're going to be using a product for free, I guarantee you that there's some type of return. Otherwise, the company is not going to be able to exist. There's some type of return that they are getting from you. I'm going to go over some of these articles here that just popped up recently. I go through and I say, okay, what's trending over the last, I've done that on before when I had the members only. What articles are trending or all that kind of stuff. And I'm seeing that people are talking about very often this. So this is from Vivek Ramaswamy, and he is having some type of issues with his plane. So it's like the reason why I'm showing this is it just seems like there's always people are trying to pot shot at him now, and I'm like, well, let's see. What do you think is the relevance of this? So this is from NBC News. It says, Republican presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy misses his third in-person campaign event in a month due to issues relating to his private plane. People miss kinds of stuff all the time. And he's been on the grind more than most. He's been doing more appearances than probably anybody in the Republican Party. And they felt like this was worth highlighting. They said he was set to host an in-person town hall event in Bloomfield Hills. I used to live out there in Michigan, but was forced to switch to a virtual event after his private plane had to make an emergency landing due to an unexpected cabin depressurization issue. According to his campaign, the aircraft landed safely, thank goodness. No injuries were reported. Ramaswamy's campaign decided to conduct the event via Zoom less than an hour before it was scheduled to start. And I was looking at this and I'm like, is that worth really like a huge discussion on? That's the kind of article you think is worth it? Are they scared of him? Or what do you think the thing is here with him? And to me, these articles give legitimacy to Vivek. I didn't like, I don't know if you heard his take on the TPP. I didn't like that, so I did move him down in my presidential rankings. I'm not for multinational trade agreements. Don't need it. But there's a follow-up video to the other one I wanted to show. There's a follow-up video, I believe. Let me take a look at this. I didn't get a chance to dig in deep. I just saw it from Matt Walsh. The video went viral of a woman in San Fran talking about getting accosted by a random guy in the street. In a follow-up video, she now claims the attacker was a well-dressed white man, because those are obviously the types known for these attacks. I haven't even seen this yet. But let me just, it's just 13 seconds. I don't know what's going on here. But another follow-up from earlier today.
No, it was a very well-groomed and well-dressed white man. Also, this is incredibly racist, and you will be blocked now. Goodbye.
Oh my God.
No, it was a very well-groomed and well-dressed white man. Also, this is incredible.
If you don't know this, the video, I'm not going to play it again. The first video was this woman distraught because she said a man said, "I'm going to violate you," spit in her face. And then now we're seeing a follow-up video. And I had not seen this video. And I tweeted, I was like, let's see, I tweeted it recently, so I should be able to just find it in my replies. I mean, it was one of my last tweets, I think. This was before, here it is. I was like, we don't have time for sympathy for grown-ass adults making grown-ass decisions. Like Daniel Perry as well. She's welcome to wake up whenever she can. I wish her the best. This is the original video where she was scared about walking, taking her groceries home. And I was like, I wish her the best, but we got to coordinate and build with people who are well beyond her point of awakening. Everybody has their time. I was asleep too. I hope she gets there. But things have escalated and continue to accelerate. Don't have time. And then now I see that video. I don't know. She could be telling the truth. I'm not saying she's not telling the truth, but she just looked goofy. And I don't. And that's. And you're like, that's incredibly racist. Like, I don't have time for that. I don't get it like that. I think it is. It's. Yeah, of course, assuming the race of that, because I didn't assume the race of the person myself, but I just don't have time for that type of virtue signaling. And you're blocked. I don't have time for that. So she can go on. She can go on and figure that out in San Francisco. So, somebody else replied to me about the Neo stuff. That's crazy. Somebody said that Neo was, threw the publisher under the bus, so maybe he was saying he didn't really apologize. I don't know. There's the trend on Twitter that I don't like. And it's just for me personally. I don't like the glamorization of being overweight. I talked about it with myself, and it's like, so I'm playing a video of a very overweight woman running towards a camera and then sliding in the sand. And the reason why you see these videos a lot now, and it's to get like comfort and like, oh, it's okay. And you look in the comments, it's like, oh, you're beautiful. I'm not just saying you're not beautiful, but what you don't see in the comments is this is hard on your heart. You've got to, hopefully you can get better. This life's a long journey. If you need any help, I got you. You are beautiful, but I got you if you want to. That's what you don't see online. And these videos kind of annoy me now. There was one I said that looked so crazy I couldn't look away. That one, she was so obese. It was just like, she was like 2,000 pounds or something like that. It's hard not to look at it. Hard to not look at it and be fascinated. But I just kept that one like, I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into that. And I don't get those on TikTok. I just get them. I do get them on Twitter because everybody kind of comments off of them. So I get them a lot on Twitter. Nancy Pelosi. So Nancy Pelosi, headline, former Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi, if Trump wins in 2024, it would be like the world being on fire. Let's take a look at this. I found out about this through Conservative Proof. Let me see if they sourced another article in it. Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi praised the indictments brought against former President Trump, describing them as beautiful and intricate. They're not intricate, and they're not intricate nor beautiful. And she said that they have a solid chance of resulting in conviction. Pelosi made the comments in a comprehensive interview with New York Magazine that was published on Monday, also discussing the prospect of Trump securing a second term in the White House. The indictments, they're beautiful and intricate, and they probably have a better chance of conviction than anything I could come up with. They do have a very good chance of conviction. The Supreme Court, I don't know when it's going to get there, but the Supreme Court should go ahead and handle that real quick. There should be no problem there. Tim Cast is live. Let me go check in with Tim. I'm just curious what Tim's up to. So let me go over there.
About. Well, there's another story that
Tim's headline: Trump roasts Megan Rapinoe for missing easy shot and losing. I still never talked about that story. I did want to talk about. Let me see if I have my links. I'm gonna play some Tim Cast. See if I have my links ready.
Megan Rapinoe trying to represent a sect of American politics instead of the United States. That's the corruption that we have to say no to and reject. The person who goes and represents the United States should say something like, I am deeply critical of this country's history, but I am here to represent those who both love and are critical. And for all of my, all of the people in the United States who may disagree with me, just know that I'm going to win this for you too. And that's what's supposed to be representing everybody. She doesn't. She hates us.
Her criticism, she has ample opportunity to let people know that she's critical without doing it when she's representing the United States, when she's overseas. You can have whatever opinion you want, but when you're out actually being...
Yeah, and I do have some comments on, how do you pronounce it, Rapinoe? I do have some comments on Megan Rapinoe, and you obviously can have whatever opinion you want, but what I won't sit back and watch you do is make a decision to represent the United States while showing hate against the United States. If you want to have the opinion that you hate the United States, or you have those type of thoughts, then you don't want to. If you think that there are problems in the country and kneeling or not putting your hand over your heart or doing some type of gesture to take away attention from the national anthem is necessary, then I don't need you representing the country. That's not something that you should do. That's a sign of someone being a spoiled brat, is what it is. And she wants the ability to get the fame and the fortune of representing the country, but then at the same time to be clearly disrespectful to what people want to see from their athletes representing the United States. And when you see a team divided like that, where there's some people that put their hands on their heart, there's some people who didn't, and that's a team that's not going to go anywhere. I think I did that. I think I did cover that on a different outlet, my Deca Digest outlet, where there was the story when every time the national anthem plays, it's a different story. It's like, okay, who's going to do what? Who's going to stand? Who's not going to stand? And I think last time they were all standing, but then some people did this, some people didn't. What that represents is a divide. So Megan, I got no beef with you. I think the biggest problem is when you decide to go ahead and represent the country when you don't act like you want to represent the country. That's the biggest problem I have. And that's the same thing people have with the NFL. Like the NFL, you're in a way representing the country when you're playing the sport. So I think there was the same sentiment that people had with, okay, kneeling, what's this about? And okay, well, I don't like this. Is there another way to do this? How do we fix it? And it never got to that point where there was substantive discussion. I said that she's a good example of how wokeness destroys everything beautiful. I think people think I'm crazy when I say this, but I actually think she would be an attractive woman, potentially, if it weren't for wokeness. I highlighted that with Jill Scott. in that other live I did. So wokeness is a disease that destroys everything beautiful and joyful. You look at the first part of this. This is Jill Scott. It's just like, live your life like it's golden. Do you still believe this? Or we're not doing this anymore, Jill. Hey, we up in here like this. We up in here happy. Yeah. Yeah, let's go. You're taking your freedom. Yeah. So she had a song called Golden, and that's what you see on the right of the screen. And then after the golden is over, then you hear where she's at now, which is in a different place. So the same thing that happened to Jill Scott is happening to Megan Rapinoe. Or Rapinoe, it's not whatever, golden anymore. Now it's, can you see? Okay, we're going to sing the national anthem. Yeah, let's do it. Hand on your heart, everybody. By the dawn. Wait. The blood in the streets. Oh, of the British soldiers? What are we referring to? We went from living our lives like it's golden to this place doesn't smile. And here it is with Megan. She was asked, this is via Greg Price posted this after taking that L. She was asked, what's her favorite memory of playing for U.S. soccer?
Is there a memory that stands out to you right now in this moment?
I mean, probably equal pay chance after the final.
That was politics.
Saying equal pay, but could have been saying a lot of things. I think this team has always fought for so much more, and that's been the most rewarding part for me. Of course, playing in World Cups and winning championships and doing all that, but to know that we've used our really special talent to do something, that's really like changed the world forever. I think that means the most to me, and the players in this locker room here. They're just getting started, and to all the players that I played with, obviously, who know what it's like to be in the grind. That's the best part.
Is there a memory
That's
that
the
stands
memory
out to you right now in this moment?
That's the memory she has, is the equal pay. I know, she worked hard to kind of create awareness for a cause she cares about, but we were kind of asking about, to me, I took it from asking about like playing the sport, like the good moments of you guys winning, maybe. So that's where it kind of goes. I'm gonna be out. I'm curious. I gotta go see what the kids are up to. I'm gonna check back in. I'm curious to see what topics Tim is talking about with Clint. Clint Russell is on. So you got a lot of liberty on there today. Tim is very friendly with the libertarian.
Michael
party,
Jordan,
which
he
is
gets
great.
paid the same even if he's wearing a dress or he's wearing pants. That's why we need equal pay.
Oh, goodness gracious. It's true. I
hey,
just don't understand. I just don't understand the argument. It's like it is honestly, it is communist. It's bizarre to me that they just make it so overtly. And all right, look, I saw Mehdi Hassan who was going ballistic about this, and he's like, I'm so accustomed to seeing all the conservatives, the true blue, the hug the flag, the shoot your guns, the 2A, the Bible thumb, da 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 da. And then he goes, they always root for the USA, but now all of a sudden they don't. It's like, Mehdi.
That's provocation.
They don't root for us.
That's provocation. He does not actually care.
Right.
It doesn't bother him.
No.
So the point that he's making is trying to get people to engage with him so that way he can be dishonest. It's not about whether or not people are patriotic. He is trying to hold people to a standard that is imaginary because he does not hold those positions at all.
Not.
So it's just a communist provocation. Flip him off. That's
Megan
what he gets.
Rapinoe hates the United States. It's not that complicated.
No,
I
agree.
totally do.
And it
But
makes
so
me-
does Mehdi Hassan. That's my point.
Well, it makes me sad for all of the other female players who are now.
Yeah, so they're still talking about that topic there. But here's another one for. I'm just going through my links here to make sure I don't forget anything. I took a note on this one. Donald Trump, they're talking about Fulton County. Let's go over to Fulton County. And let's analyze this. Fulton County DA, this is Fannie Willis, expected to use a law meant to take down mafia bosses. Looking at the RICO. Already facing 3 criminal indictments. Donald Trump's bracing for a 4th. It's not in its potential, but we know it's coming. Likely to come with a legal twist that he hasn't faced yet, sprawling racketeering charges. Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Willis, a prosecutor, made a name for herself bringing such charges in high-profile cases, has been tight-lipped. But lawyers who have followed the investigation, including some who have worked with Willis in the past, expect her to invoke, so this is probably leaked, Georgia's RICO Act, modeled after the Federal Racketeering, Influenced, and Corruption Organizations Act of 1970. So basically that money laundering type of, I'm not an expert in that stuff there, but you're looking at like mafia, gang type of stuff. Signs are certainly pointing in that direction. Of course, your typical self-described black Democrat woman, which is probably about 95%. Within the next 2 weeks, a grand jury is expected to consider criminal charges. So they got that coming where it's about now it's about every month. So I think that's the last one I'm aware of. There could be one more after that, believe it or not, but I think that might be the last one. And so he'll be arrested 4 times. And so they're expecting that. Last week he was indicted, as we know. Events in this one, events in Georgia figured prominently in the federal indictment. So what they're probably going to do is go after Michigan went after the alternate electors, the Michigan 16. You're probably going to see that same thing. I believe Georgia had alternate ones too. Let me do a quick search on that. Which states had alternate? There's not even a real term for it if it's dual electors or what. I think alternate electors is what everybody's been using. Alternate electors in 2020. 84. So there's Arizona too. 11 Arizonans were among 84 people who signed on to the documents in 2020. Let me sidetrack to this one before I get back to the Georgia stuff, because I want to look at this real quick. 84 people, groups from Arizona. So groups from Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, as we know, New Mexico, Nevada, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, all allegedly met in December 2020 and sent lists of so-called alternate electors to the National Archives after the 2020 election. So Michigan pressed charges against their 16. I'm expecting the timing to happen where they definitely go after the Georgia. I'm trying to think, can the Georgia ones go though, because they got the Republican, even though they're not a MAGA, their establishment. I still expect that to potentially happen. Michigan's different because it is than Georgia because it's blue, and this is not going to come from a county if you're going to go after the alternate electors. I'm trying to look at the other ones. I don't know the AG situations. So it just depends on the state AG situations here, to me, whether you see it happen in other states. Arizona definitely could happen. That would be a battle. Because I think the Republicans have the legislative body in Arizona, so they're at a stalemate, basically. Republicans are passing bills. Katie Hobbs is vetoing the bills. So those are the people who are kind of in danger, depending on the politics of this is all political, of the AG. In my opinion, it's political. So let's take a look at more of like what's happening here. I want to see, because usually if you go deeper into the article, they'll kind of tell you why stuff is happening, but it's usually like way deep in the article. RICO is a powerful tool. She's applied it in the past, both under federal and Georgia's. If prosecutors show that there is an organization of people, so they're basically calling Trump an organization, a gang, a mob, who commit crimes together on a recurring basis, then members can be prosecuted for crimes the group committed. Back in 2021, when Willis first launched her election interference investigation, she retained one of Georgia's leading experts on racketeering charges, John Floyd, to advise on the investigation, which he still does. Floyd has worked on high-profile cases for the Fulton County District Attorney's Office, including the Atlanta school cheating case, in which Fannie was a key prosecutor. I'm still not getting the answers I need. I'm scrolling down. It's a big deal because it wasn't a gang case. Oh, so like it set a precedent that doesn't have to be a gang. So she announced a 56-count RICO indictment of 27 people associated with an alleged criminal organization, violent street gang. The defendants here, including Young Thug, pled not guilty, awaiting trial. The RICO statute lends itself well to the Jordan investigation because Trump allies around the country tried a range of tactics to keep him in power. Gives the prosecutor lots of choices as far as venue goes. The venue wouldn't be Georgia. And it leads to very long, complicated trials that wear down defense attorneys and are very costly. So Georgia's, they're using taxpayer money. Trump's got to get his own money, time, and all that. So even if the Supreme Court overturns it, they're trying to drain. That's why I said it's got to get there quickly, because that's definitely election interference to me. Critics of RICO said it allows the government to join defendants with little connection to each other into a single prosecution that, absent RICO, would be too disjointed. So it sounds like it allows you to put puzzle pieces together even if you don't have all, like a puzzle together even if you don't have all the pieces, is my interpretation thus far. I think juries are very, very intelligent. Willis said they know what happened. Okay, so I'm just seeing if there's anything else buried deep in here. The RICO law is broader than the federal one in Georgia. The federal one enumerates a list of 35 crimes that can be used. Georgia's statute adds more than 30 additional crimes that qualify. The Georgia statute, unlike the federal law, specifically includes making false statements as a potential racketeering crime. The Georgia law, unlike federal law, specifically includes making false statements as a potential racket, so you can get them on anything. If there are indictments in Georgia and they include racketeering, then I expect that false statements will be an important part of the case. So the other part, so my takeaway from that's the first time I didn't even read the article, skimmed through it, is my take is that they might be looking at MTG and others. Was MTG involved? I always forget the timing of that. When did MTG? I don't know if it's MTG, but they're going to be going after, I think, others. It makes it broad. And I think when they said venues, I wonder if it was hinting at just, Bannon and, anybody. Postelbeck. I mean, you could be getting Postelbeck, Kirk, who knows, TPU. I don't know. I don't want to speculate too much. But I'm just saying it sounds like you can just bring in anybody. It looks like it is. Just bring them in. Just bring them in. So that's a different path.
A party line, and you're supposed to stick to our opinion.
The video's on his Instagram.
So it sounds like they're talking about Neo.
Yeah, I don't think the video's gone.
Stand strong, Neo.
It stays there.
About what I say, whatever.
Yeah, I don't think it's gone.
Not only that, but like he's coming after the media too, because they got this one story where it says Neo condemns parents allowing children to transition, and he responded, first and foremost, I condemn no one. Who am I to condemn anybody? Your life, your kids, your choice. I was asked a question, I answered it. My opinion is mine. I'm not asking anybody to agree with me, nor am I telling you what you can and cannot do with your children. I stated my opinion on the matter, and that's that. Why should I care? Why should I care if my opinion upsets you when you don't care if yours upsets anyone? Opinions aren't special. We all have one. People voice them regularly, whether they're asked or not. Dude, that was based. Why should I care if my opinion upsets you when you don't care if your opinion upsets anyone else?
Yeah,
that's
exactly a good line.
So I've talked about that quite a bit. I'm not as cheerful on that. I need more information on the publicist stuff. So I'll have to look at that. I mean, either you got the apology or you don't. I didn't hear a clear, I'm not apologizing to nobody type of thing. What you saw, take that. I didn't hear a clear, like, oh, it sounded like something like on my computer, don't get it off my publicist's computer. Like, that's not, I don't know. I'm not really feeling it. So I'm just going through my article links here. Let's see if I got another link. And I'll probably be out soon. What? This is not something I had on my list. I bet you this is from June 5th, 17th. A major Clinton donor. It can't be. I'm not going to read that article. I don't know. I have to read it first. The headline for the article is talking about a Clinton donor violating dogs. It sounds like violating them sexually. I don't know if that's like a joke or what. That's definitely one I'm not going to dive into without a clear investigation. Judge Cannon denies Jack Smith's motion to file documents in Trump case under seal. So that's interesting with the judge. I did not expect that. So I'll have to go through and listen to that. So I'm going to be out. I'm going to be out, probably go take a walk. It's still nice out. Take advantage of all that, the weather. And then I'm going to be listening to Timcast. Got to figure out what the kids are going to eat. So then I don't know what time Ray's going to go live. So I got to holler at Ray. And we'll see if we're going live. We'll let you know. So let's go. I'm out. Thanks a lot for listening. Appreciate y'all. Peace.